Let us now look at data administration. Data are in fact the lifeblood of organizations, and it needs to be managed. So data administration is concerned with the management of organizational memories. These organizational memories or data in an organization are generated by a variety of stakeholders, ranging from employees to suppliers, shareholders, customers, and even the government. However, since data are generated by so many different stakeholders that need to be managed, there are several data management problems as a result, including redundancy of data, inconsistent representations, multiple definitions of the data items, and including missing and incomplete data. Consequently, the goal of data management is to enable clients and customers to access the data they need in the most suitable format. Now, there are a variety of roles that are created to help an organizational manage data. A new role that we've been hearing about is that of the Chief Data Officer. It's a new C-level position, C in the order of CEO, CIO, or COO. And a Chief Data Officer is responsible for the strategic management of data systems and ensuring that the organization fully seizes data-driven opportunities. A Chief Data Officer may have many role dimensions, including a collaboration direction, a data management focus, or a value orientation. When we talk about collaboration direction, the Chief Data Officer may be internally focused or externally focused. An internally focused Chief Data Officer might focus on developing assessment methodologies, creating standards and procedures for managing data within the organization, and really focusing on data governance. An externally or outward focused Chief Data Officer is going to focus on cooperating and collaborating with external stakeholders of the organization. A Chief Data Officer with a traditional transaction focus is a focus on really the relational databases and the day-to-day transactions of the organization. Whereas a Chief Data Officer with a big data focus will emphasize the opportunities for improving operations or developing new strategies for the business based on new data streams that are accessible to the organization. A Chief Data Officer with a service orientation will mainly focus on how to improve existing data-related processes, whereas a Chief Data Officer with a strategic focus will focus on advancing the firm's position in the industry and focus on how to exploit new digital data streams that the organization has access to. There are several components to a database environment, including databases or repositories of the organizational memory, user interfaces, or ways to access that data that is stored in the databases, usually interfaces for analysts, managers, etc. Data dictionaries, data about how the data is present in the databases or the metadata, and other external databases. Database administration subsequently focuses on system level administration and project level administration. System level administration involves several issues related to data standards and policy, maintaining data integrity, and resolving data conflicts, whereas project level data administration focuses on defining requirements, modeling of the data, training and consulting, and change management issues. While a lot of people distinguish between data administration and database administration, this is not an appropriate distinction. Rather, it serves to think of in terms of system and project level administration rather than data and database level administration. Data administration can in fact refer to both system and project level functions. Data administration functions may be performed by a variety of different individuals within an organization, ranging from administrator to database analysts. A data steward is responsible for managing all the corporate data for a critical business entity or product. In fact, a data steward cuts across organizational boundaries, functional boundaries, and aligns data management with the organizational goals. Databases get used at many levels, ranging from personal to organizational. When we are talking about personal databases, we are referring to databases that exist on notebook computers, PDAs, PIMs, really all the different devices that form part of the ecosystem for an individual. However, workgroup and organizational databases are shared by many people and have greater complexity and subsequently require greater planning and coordination and require greater resources in management. There are several strategies for systems development, and databases and applications can either be developed independently or together. Depending on the context and the situation and the project, an appropriate strategy needs to be chosen. In the systems development process, developers, administrators, and users each have their role to play, and this table lays out what such typical roles may be. Data integration is a huge challenge for organizations since they have to consolidate data from multiple sources. For example, there may be different identifiers for the same instance of an entity. The same data may be stored in multiple systems. Different methods of calculation may be used for the same business indicator, and these are relatively simple problems. However, to consolidate all these problems and sources of data and functions across multiple systems does pose a challenge. And so the goal of data integration is to develop a standard meaning and format for all data elements in the database. Basically, it means a common and standard coding system is created and a standard measurement system is implemented across the organization and across all the databases in the organization. Consequently, the organization will wind up with a single corporate data model for every major business entity. The organization of the data administration function involves the creation of the function and selecting the appropriate staff for this function. This means making sure that every individual in that function knows their roles and responsibilities and has the appropriate skill to perform those roles and responsibilities. Data administration is extremely critical to the success of most organizations and is very necessary for data-driven decision making. Data-driven decision making and database administration and data administration is growing much more complex in a world filled with data and requires the appointment of executives that can pay it the appropriate strategic attention.